Hey guys, it's Maddie or Books with Maddie, and today I am showing you guys my Reading Rush TBR. So this is my favorite time of year, Reading Rush season. I love it. The Reading Rush is my favorite readathon of all time. I love it so much. I think it's so much fun, and it's truly the only readathon that I participate in consistently, without fail. Basically, this is how I know everybody has a different way that they approach the Reading Rush, and this is the approach that I've decided to take this year. So I do try to read 7 books, 1 for each prompt, but I always have books that can double as other things. So I do have the possibility to double up on some books, and if I do not make it through all of 7 prompts, I will prioritize the books that fit in more than one category so that I can at least complete all of the categories if I don't get all of the books. So I do have a pretty ambitious TBR this year. I do have a lot of books that are around 200, 300 pages, which isn't something I can typically read in a day, especially now that I've started working again. So we're gonna see how this goes. We're gonna try our very, very best, but it's all up in the air right now. I've been waiting to film this because I've been waiting for these packages to come in. A couple of these prompts are subject to change just because I'm unsure about some of them, and I might want to switch some things around. So if anything changes, I'll probably update on Twitter, which is going to be in the description below. Without further ado, I think I will just get right into it. The first prompt of the Reading Rush, which I loved this prompt, I thought it was phenomenal, was a book with the cover that is the same color as your birthstone. So I was born in June, and also there are multiple birthstones, which I wasn't aware of, but I looked it up, and I've always thought my birthstone was pearl. Well, apparently there's another birthstone that's pink or something. I don't know. I don't really know. But I decided to go with pearl. So I went through a bunch of options for this. There were some longer books that I wanted to possibly read from this, but I ended up going with The Grown Up by Gillian Flynn, which I was lucky enough to find on Thrift Books. And it's not completely white, but I would say white is the primary color on this, and I wouldn't say it's necessarily pearl, but I went with white. So this is what I'm going with. And this is such a little tiny boy that I thought it would just be perfect, and I love Gillian Flynn's writing. It has been a goal of mine to read all of her books, and once I read this, I will have only Dark Places left to read. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this. And it is only 62 pages, which I should be able to get through very, very quickly. So hopefully I'll be able to read this on top of another book in one day, do a little combined effort. So yeah. Next is a book that starts with the word the. I'm very nervous about this one. I've heard very interesting things about this book. I did choose The Vegetarian by Han Kang. I'm really not sure how to pronounce his name, I'm sorry. But I have heard interesting reviews for this book. A lot of people really love it. When I was researching books for the Reading Rush, short books, this book came up on almost every single list. People either adore this book or just want to be done with it. My mom actually listened to it on audiobook, part of it, and she was like, you should not get this book is so weird. But I'm a vegetarian, and it's called The Vegetarian, and it's short, and it starts with the word the, so I bought it, and we're gonna see how this goes. I'm actually really terrified for this book. It is about almost exactly 200 pages, but the text is pretty tiny, so I'm hoping it'll be really easy to read, very riveting. That's what I'm hoping for. The next prompt was actually the hardest one for me. It was a book inspired by a movie that you've already seen. I'm not a huge movie person, especially book-to-movie adaptations. If there's a book-to-movie adaptation, I will 100% read the book first. It is very few, there are a couple exceptions. And luckily there was one exception, and it worked out actually perfectly. So what I'm gonna be reading for this prompt is To All the Boys I Loved Before. This worked out so perfectly because this is actually my TBR this month. If you watched my video where I let a deck of cards pick my TBR for this month, I actually got this out of a random pick from my TBR jar, unbeknownst to me, that this would fit perfectly for this prompt, and I'm really excited. This should be really easy. It is on the longer end, especially for a readathon, but I'm hoping it's 350 pages. Okay, I did think it was a little bit shorter than that. I mean, this is literally my only option besides Little Women, but I'm saving that. I want to I can't rush through that. I need to be in a very specific headspace to be ready to read that book. But this is probably the only movie that I've seen that goes along with a book and I own the book. It's on my TBR. It just, yeah. The next prompt is the first book you touch. I will be doing this at the end because I don't know what I'm going to be reading for this one yet, and I'm going to close my eyes and pick a book, and it's going to be fun. Okay. Read a book completely outside of your house. For this prompt, I hacked it a little bit because a lot of people were kind of questioning this prompt, especially because of the current state of the outside world, which is like a little bit dangerous, especially if you're in a place where you can't go, if you don't have a place to go outside. I'm just now realizing that this doesn't mean you have to read it outside. It means you have to read it not inside of your house. So you can read it anywhere that's not inside of your house. So basically, I might try to read this one primarily at work. But in case you don't have somewhere to read a book, here's a hack for you, because the host basically said you can hack this and do a kind of faux version of outside of your house. What I ended up picking is a book that I've been very much anticipating, and it is Beach Read by Emily Henry. So this is a hack for multiple reasons. Number one, the cover is outside on a beach, so it's outside. Number two, I feel like this book takes place on a beach, right? Or in beach houses. But, like, probably a lot of it will take place outside on the beach. Hence, beach read. I mean, right? So that's my hack for you if you want to. That's my suggestion. But literally do whatever you want. Hey, guys. So, like I said in the beginning of this, things are subject to change. So I actually am changing this prompt. I looked at the page count of Beach Read as well as stacked up against some of the other books that I wanted to read, and I realized it was just a little bit too ambitious, especially because I'll be working this entire week full time. So I actually ended up changing this one, and instead, since I am actually able to go to somewhere else and read in other places like at work, I am going to choose Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur, which isn't like a hack or anything, because I do have that ability, but I did want to keep in the part where I recommended Beach Read, because that actually was like, that could be used for like a hack situation if you wanted to read that for the Reading Rush, because, you know, it takes place outside and whatnot. But I will be changing this one to Milk and Honey later in the video. Milk and Honey actually does come up again because I use it for one of the books that I pick, but I do not get Milk and Honey, so I'm instead using it for this prompt. So instead of Beach Read, I am reading Milk and Honey. The next one is a genre you've always wanted to read more of. I didn't know what to do for this one. I feel like, especially this year, I've been like doing a pretty good job of like diversifying genres. I haven't been reading too much fantasy, too much dystopian. I did choose nonfiction, even though I do read a good amount of nonfiction already. But I was stuck between thrillers and nonfiction. I ended up going nonfiction because I actually prefer nonfiction sometimes to thrillers. So I ended up picking Women in Power by Mary Beard. This is a little tiny nonfiction book about women. Nope, that says Mary. About women and power. And I love this cover. It's in such good condition. Like, look at, I'm obsessed. This is not the cover I thought I was gonna get, and I like this 10 times 1,000 better. There's like pictures, so like it's technically gonna be really short. There's literal pictures. It's like 100 pages. I'm very excited. Maybe I'll read this and the grown up together and do like a little buddy read with myself. What? I don't know what I'm trying to say. Okay, the last one is, well, the last one, I still have to touch one. Last one is a book that takes place on a different continent than you live in. I live in North America. Wow. So I'm an avid reader of historical fiction, so I read a lot of books that do not take place in the continent that I live on. Now, I had a couple options for this one, as you might imagine. I have a couple here that I have like potential reads, and I will show you them. I think I know which one I'm gonna go with, but I'll show you all of the ones that I got. The first book that I have here is The Vanishing Act of Esme Lennox. Esme? Not sure. I'm pretty sure this takes place somewhere in Europe. I'm not sure exactly where, and I don't really know what it's about. I think it's about somebody who was in like an insane asylum and then got released to a family member that they don't know. Don't know. The next one, I'm pretty sure I know which one I'm gonna read, the Reading Rush, and I don't think it's gonna be this one. So there is a piece of paper in here with some numbers on it, which look like a lock combination, like you know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? like a lock, like a padlock. Is that what it's called? You know, circle things and like this, and then there's like a locker lock. That's what this looks like. Combination for a locker. So if anybody is missing combination to their locker and left it in a book called Impossible Saints, hit me up. I got your locker combo. Okay, so like I said, this one is Impossible Saints by Clarissa Harwood. I don't know too much about this one either, but it is like pretty long for the Reading Rush. It does follow the suffragette movement in London, which I've never learned about. And so I'm very interested. I think there's also like a romance between like a suffragette and a priest, and they're like differing like beliefs. And so that'll be fun and intense. So what I think I'm going to end up reading, because I believe this one is longer than I thought. That's for sure. This one is called White Rose Black Forest by Ian Dempsey. And this sounds so interesting. It takes place in 1943 in Germany. I believe it takes place in Germany, 1943. Basically follows this woman. This is like my synopsis from what I remember from what I read like a week ago. So this might be a little rusty, but I believe it follows a woman who was like released from the police or running from the police or something like that because she was like helping people. I don't know exactly why, but she lives in this cabin in a forest, and she ends up finding a fallen like air pilot in the forest, and she's like, oh man, if I take him in, I will be in trouble. And she does it anyway. She discovers an unconscious airman lying in the snow wearing a Luftwaffe uniform, his parachute flapping in the wind. Unwilling to let him die, Franca takes him into her family's isolated cabin despite her hatred for the regime he represents. Okay, does that mean he was a German pilot? And they're both hunted by the Gestapo, which is like the German police. So, I really don't, that's confusing to me. I will probably end up going with White Rose Black Forest for the actual Reading Rush. And that is the 6 books that I know of for the Reading Rush. Next, I am going to do the pick a first book, the first book that you touch thing. So I have a list of some short books that I own, and what I'll probably do is have my brother come in, hold them, mix them up, you know, so I don't know the order, hold them, and then I'll just poke one, and that'll be the one that I read. So I will show you first the books that I've decided will be in that stack. So I have 5 options for this one. The first one being We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This is a thriller, so I'm hoping it'll be a really fast read, especially because I've heard like this one is like incredible. It can't put it down. It's about 220 pages, I believe. Next is Blood and Honey by Rupi Kaur, which would be the ideal pick for me because it is going to be a very short. It's poetry, and like as you can see, this one is like would be the easiest to read. So I'm really hoping I get this one. This is what I'm hoping for. Next is LMNOP by Mark Dunn, which is, I don't know too much about this one. I do know that like it's about people on an island, and like every once in a while a letter gets taken away. By the end of the book, the author is actually writing it without those letters. As letters get removed from the island, I don't really know what that means, but he ends up not using those letters. So first it'll be like Z, Q, you know, obscure letters like that. But then like by the end he's like, I don't know how it works, but I was gifted this book and I'm very excited to read it. It's about 200 pages, so that's not too bad. Next, I'm actually not sure if I'm going to put this in a pile. It's Dear Martin by Nick Stone. I have 2 copies of this, so I was planning on buddy reading it with Morgan for our book club. So actually, I'm going to take this out, but here's a tip. If you're looking for a short book for the Reading Rush, I recommend Dear Martin. I've never read it, but you can. 210 pages, but I do really want to read this and take the time to read this, so I'm gonna actually take this out. Sorry. I'm sorry that I just put this in here to take it out. And the last one is The Selection by Kira Cass. This one is definitely longer than I would like it to be. It's over 300 pages, like 325. But I'm guessing, I've heard this is like a very quick read. 4 books that I'll have him hold are these 4, LMNOP, Milk and Honey, We Were Liars, and The Selection. I'm going to now fetch my brother and have him hold these. So the shuffling that you're hearing off of the screen is my brother shuffling up the books into a random order that I'm not going to look at. Then what's going to happen is he's going to hold them on the screen, then I'm going to close my eyes and poke. Wow, guys, this is really intense. We're picking the last book for the Reading Rush.
Right there.
Okay, I'm going to, wait, like in between my hands right now?
Yes.
Okay.
That, yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so scared. There's one that I really want. Okay, and then I'm going to okay, pick again. This one. Oh boy, I got the longest one. Thank you for your help. I selected. What happened to the camera? Did it move? I selected the selection, which is really what I didn't want because it's long and also like I want to kind of enjoy it because everybody tells me it's gonna be amazing. You know what? I'm be happy about it. Maybe it was meant to be. This was meant to be. It's gonna be fine. But, okay, this is happening, people. It's happening. So, I'll go over them really quickly again, and then we'll be done. I'm in such a bad mood now. I don't know why I'm like this. Put them in a stack. I'm just laughing because last year all of my books were like this size, and now these are the two smallest. I'm gonna cry, guys. This is gonna be very intense. Also, another question. I'm unwilling to daily vlog. I'm absolutely unwilling to do that. Would you like me to, like, record what I'm doing over the days and put it into, like, either one giant vlog or, like, do the first 3 days in one vlog and the next 4 days in another vlog or maybe even 3 vlogs or something like that? Would that be what you would want? Because I'm kind of feeling like I want to do that. But here are all the books that I'm planning on reading for the Reading Rush. Please wish me luck because I am going to absolutely need it. I really have a problem when it comes to, like, if there's any kind of competition, and I see this as a competition, which is absolutely unreasonable of me to do. I have I will stay up until literally 3 a.m. doing this so that I win. So it's just gonna be a rough week. And I like that I said how I win because there's literally no winning in this. Like, I don't know what my problem is. Literally just pray for my soul to not consume myself during this time. You guys are doing the Reading Rush, please let me know. Like, drop your, like, Twitters or, like, your Instagrams or something, or if you have a video saying what your Reading Rush TBR is, drop that below. I'd love to watch all of them. This is literally my favorite readathon, my favorite time of year. I love it. I love pushing myself to the edge, okay? That's really what it's about. This is not a relaxing week for me. This is not just fun reading. This is intensity and competition, and nobody else is competing. So really, it's just me being really intense for no reason, and it's ridiculous and stupid. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know which one you guys are most excited for me to read. Let me know how you are hacking the reading outside one, and I will see you very, very soon.